Now, obviously, I've been gone for a little minute. So this is something I missed. And I love doing death battles on stream because I like to see y'all opinions. I do Twitch streams, twitch.tv/IsiahCozy, link in the description. Please no spoilers in the chat. Again, I've never seen this. So we're gonna watch this. We're like 2 weeks late, but let's find out about it, bro. Hold on, let me like it. All right. Shigaraki versus Mahito. Hold on, let me get my pick before I learn anything. Just blind. Shigaraki, probably. All right, he got all them quirks. But, like, he got domain expansion, so it's going to be interesting.
Shigaraki versus Mahito.
The symbol of fear versus the human disaster curse.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Tenko Shimura was just a sweet, shy boy who loved superheroes.
But sometimes the hand of fate can't abide sweet shy boys.
Ruthlessly beaten and abused by his hero-hating father, Tenko pushed beyond his emotional limits until he activated his inherent superpower, or quirk.
It wasn't something cool like flight or super strength. In his terror, he accidentally killed his whole family. Well, except for dear old dad. That one was intentional.
Tenko wandered the streets alone, silently begging for someone, anyone, to help him. If only a hero was there to save him. But instead...
Well, a hero really couldn't save him because he would have killed him.
Only open hand he found belonged to the devil.
All for one. The greatest supervillain in history.
He took Tenko under his wing, feeding a hatred of everyone and everything, and grooming him to one day lead his league of villains in destroying hero society.
With that came a new name, Tomura Shigaraki, and an absolutely nightmarish quirk, Decay. It does what it says on the tin. Anything Shiggy touches with all 5 fingers turns to dust.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't even know what I would do with that power. That power just, it's too destructive for me, bruh. Like, I mean, you can't even really, like when you get too excited with your girl, like, she's done. You're decaying her, bro. And then what happens if you, like, if you try and goon? Can he goon? Chat, do we know that? Can he goon? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Perfect power for someone who just wants to destroy. Pretty menacing, if not for that dorky-ass costume. I get it, hands are his thing, but come on. They just look so dumb and fake.
Oh, those aren't prosthetics. Those are real hands from his family that he killed, attached to his face, and explicitly commanded
he touches his dick, call it dick,
to be left there by his mentor so that he would never forget his rage.
Okay.
While his use of decay started off relatively weak, it rapidly increased in power and range as Shigaraki came into his own.
Decay isn't even limited to whatever he's touching. Anything that touches something he's decaying also decays.
Which is ridiculous.
Spreading like an all-consuming miasma that can wipe out anything from an enormous tower to an entire city.
If decay reaches you, your only hope is to isolate the body part that is disintegrating before it gets to something vital.
After years of training with the greatest supervillain of all time, Shigaraki was finally put in charge of his own team with
I'm still taking Krillin over him, though.
one mission. He must kill his master's rival, the #1 hero, All Might.
Only to fall flat on his face.
Shigaraki was a terrible leader, quick-tempered, short-sighted, and, well...
Cringe! Oh, he's just so cringe. He uses gamer lingo unironically. He whines like a baby when things don't go his way. He's the kind of guy who would say...
I mean, bro, he's really underdeveloped, bro. He's still a child. He never really got a chance to do nothing important besides kill and get stronger and kill.
Normie in real life, in front of normies.
But they say defeat is the greatest teacher of all. Only through struggle could Shigaraki manifest his dark conviction.
Right as All Might's new protege, Izuku.
Yo, we use gamer lingo unironically. I ain't gonna lie, they unironically power scale. There you go. I got it back for us, bro.
Midoriya was coming into his own as well.
These two rivals, the inheritors of their master's blood feud, would push themselves past their own limitations.
Especially when All Might and All For One double KO'd each other, leaving Shigaraki to lead the League of Villains all by himself.
And with the stakes higher than ever before, Shigaraki stepped up. He personally battled the monstrous Gigantomachia for a month and a half straight, and conquered other villain organizations to create
Yo, when people say they be fighting for that long, bro, what do that look like? Is it really just malnutrition? Like, we're fighting until somebody starve first. Dog, like, I hear this in so many different stories and different animes and shows. Like, they fought for 1 week. Bitch, I'm tired. What? How do you fight for run and hiding? Bro, no, it's straight hands. Because in Yu Yu Hakusho, the one dickhead said they fought for like a month and they were literally just screaming and just like clashing auras the whole time.
Paranormal Liberation Front, thousands of new soldiers for his personal army.
All to impress All For One's personal quack, Dr. Ujiko, who spent months upgrading Shigaraki's body to make it more like his sensei's.
Cause you gotta think, like, even like 5 minutes fighting feels so long. But I guess when they have that much endurance and stamina, where it's damn near endless, I guess you wouldn't really be able to notice at that point, and it wouldn't really take as much of a toll. Therefore, time will move faster, maybe.
It might have been constant agony, but Shiggy went from Chud to Chad.
Ujiko's experimentation vastly increased Shigaraki's strength, speed, and durability, enough to match and surpass even All Might's absurd power.
Sharing All Might's power between them, Deku and Bakugo were able to punch an island-sized hole in a cloud that reached 24 miles into the sky. We've calculated that before to be nearly 80 million megatons of TNT, almost as much as the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs.
And Shigaraki can now move fast enough that his body produces hypersonic shockwaves and can even catch laser beams.
And he's tough enough to survive Star and Stripes Intercontinental Ballistic Cruise Punch. Now the new name for my penis. Move over, gigantic Omega Storm. Anyway, it also made a blast so big it showed up against the curvature of the Earth.
Though he might seem invincible, when Shigaraki's body is pushed hard enough, he will evolve into a state of uncontrollable power.
So Decay became, oh shit, more hands!
Shigaraki can spontaneously generate flesh into existence, seemingly oceans of it in an instant, whenever
Ridiculous.
he wants. He can even use it as a type of armor to defend himself in close combat.
But that's nothing compared to Ujiko's greatest gift. Shigaraki wanted to be the new All For One, so what better way than the old man's quirk?
All For One's quirk, All For One, allows its user to steal and store quirks with just a touch.
And All For One has hundreds of them stored up, collected over the years.
Each quirk is connected to a memory of its user's essence in the form of a spirit, a vestige.
Kinda like a piece of their soul.
Wait, the final season didn't come out yet. They're still making that one.
They exist in this kinda psychic world in Shigaraki's body, and can even act as a spiritual defense should it be invaded.
And with those vestiges came quirks like super fast healing,
Air
air
cannon,
blasts,
danger sense,
radio
flight.
waves, flight, telekinesis, teleportation.
I ain't gonna lie, when are we gonna have a conversation that My Hero Academia One For All is really just based off of Charlotte? I feel like that's a high IQ ball knowledge conversation to have. Like, this is like, I just thought about it. This really just Charlotte. This really what would have happened if Dickhead never became crippled. That's ball knowledge, boy. They don't know about that. He said Charlotte Hornets.
Of others and the ability to track foes.
He can even combine multiple quirks together, like in this big-ass electric Kamehameha.
However, any vestige stolen or destroyed will also remove that quirk from Shigaraki's repertoire. They're also sentient, and some can even fight for control.
Which is when the second shoe finally dropped. Because Shigaraki also got All For One's vestige, that means All For One was now in possession of a shiny new body that he'd spent the last 15 years molding for him to take over.
Wow.
Shigaraki's entire existence was planned from the beginning.
Wow.
Why? Because All Might's previous mentor was Nana Shimura, Tanko's grandmother.
Oh, that to mess with All Might. That is some next level hating right there.
He manipulated Shigaraki's entire life, all for one purpose: to create a soul so corrupted it would grind away at All Might's perfect world, allowing All for One to take full control.
But All for One's possession wasn't complete, and Shiggy managed to fight his way back to the top, literally decaying his way through vestiges in the process, all to fight his rival Deku one last.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of agree with chat a little bit. Like, I mean, I understand you're trying to build up like his character and why, and it's probably the things that he does. Like when I say quirks, I don't mean powers. I mean like his actual personality flares, like his cadences. I guess that's what they're trying to show, like why he would do the certain things that he does in a battle. But they are kind of just going through the story in general. But they always do that, to be fair.
Time.
Despite Izuku's best efforts to save him, Shigaraki was too far gone. His spirit decayed by years of venomous hatred.
And the new symbol of hope defeated the new symbol of fear, burying All for One's
Nah, they did not need to add that. I ain't gonna lie, that was crazy. Gang, that was crazy.
for good.
All that Shigaraki asked was to be remembered as the heartless destroyer he was raised to be, and not the broken, angry, crying little boy
they
he
had to
really
do that.
was deep inside.
I ain't gonna lie, they did
For
not need
just
to do
that
this.
one moment, though, Shiggy got in Deku the only thing he'd been denied his whole life, the one thing his lifelong nihilistic tantrum was really all about. He got a hero who tried to save him.
Oh, damn, that's actually kind of deep. That just gave me
This
goosebumps.
battle is sponsored by Robin Hood.
Okay,
Oops,
that'd be
here's three
sponsored.
gold
Dollars
Amazing
chip is
sponsor.
offering
in a life.
here. Cain slew his brother Abel. Ever since Cain slew his brother Abel and wetted his fields with his blood, man's greatest fear has been
did
his
JJ
fellow
end?
man.
But what if this fear took on a life of its own?
What if all that negative emotion humans felt for one another?
But I ain't gonna lie, Death Battle. Well, they probably not gonna watch my reaction because again, I recently just got allowed to react to these again. But if y'all boys just add a spoiler warning, or maybe we wasn't looking, chat. Maybe it's us. But if there was like a spoiler warning, skip here. I feel like that would have been calm. That'd been calm.
Build from their bodies and congealed, forming over
Did
time
JJ have a good ending?
living being.
I haven't read it.
Which believes in nothing but the law of the jungle.
Well, then you'd have the special grade curse with the patch face, Mahito. Oh, I've had people tell me I've become a
He
human
said
disaster
no.
curse when I've had too many mojitos.
Mahito
Was it
is
rushed or
one
what?
of the deadliest beings to ever afflict mankind. He's no mere mortal, though, but a cursed spirit. Innumerable spirits exist, weaker or stronger depending on the amount of anxieties, jealousies, hatreds, and fears humans feel about them.
Like the fear of locusts, kinda weak. Or the fear of smallpox, getting stronger. Or the fear of fire. Oh, goodbye, Tokyo.
So it follows that mankind's fear of itself would be extremely powerful. Those negative emotions manifest as Mahito, a being composed of cursed energy.
It's basically like evil ki. Cursed energy can be used to make spirits way stronger, faster, and tougher than any normal human. And it's invisible, making curses like Mahito impossible for the untrained eye to see.
Wow.
Only a life or death situation can galvanize a normal person to see a cursed spirit.
That also makes cursed spirits virtually immune to physical damage. They may be physically present in space, but can only be harmed by attacks that embody spirit matter like cursed energy.
Which makes curses insanely hard to get rid of, like ghosts, cockroaches, or my ex. That's why you need a jujutsu sorcerer to come in and kaizen the shit out of them. They call it exorcism, but I like the way I said it better.
Curses and
I guess my question would be, so if they're gonna do another JJK battle, will they re-explain all of this? It's something I'm gonna look out for.
sorcerers have battled each other for millennia, waging an endless war over the fate of humanity. Almost exclusively in Japan, though, for some reason.
But Mahito was special. You see, most curses are basically dumb animals. But Mahito has so much cursed energy that it gave him sentience.
So he was recruited by Kenjaku alongside other special grade disaster curses to wreak havoc upon the world. In fact, they made Mahito their leader.
And even more frightening than intelligence and bloodlust, Mahito possessed philosophy.
Perhaps informed
Philosophy.
by the tragic meaninglessness of
Oh, hell
interhuman
no.
conflict, Mahito is an existential nihilist, believing in nothing but his own will to power. It's a
Interesting.
dog-eat-dog world, and Mahito is the wolf.
Which also makes him kind of a goof.
Like, I've watched the show and everything. I just didn't know that particular thing. I didn't know he was a nihilist per se. I mean, I guess you could theorize, but they're just like slapping the label on him.
goofball. If nothing matters, why not have fun with the slaughter? Really get your steps in. He loves to dig around and toy with your emotions like a cartoon character before slitting your throat.
An appropriate analogy considering his curse technique, idol transfiguration.
Using his cursed energy, Mahito can control anyone's soul with just a touch, including his own. In fact, he's so good at manipulating his own soul that you can't even kill the bastard without directly targeting it.
In Jujutsu Kaisen, the soul and the body share an immutable connection. Whatever happens to the former affects the latter.
This lets Mahito squash, stretch, and shape-shift his body into literally anything he wants, like Play-Doh. He can turn his limbs into blades or clubs, grow wings like a bird or fins like a fish,
creativity.
reform his body around injuries, or even create clones.
Curse users are naturally unharmed by their own ability. Should he touch a human, though, his alterations to their body are instantly fatal.
And since he's attacking your soul, those physical wounds are gonna be impossible to heal.
Even if his alteration isn't directly fatal, the human body won't last more than a few moments in a transfigured state.
All that with one touch! God, I thought herpes
when
was
he
bad.
did that,
His powers mean Mahito treats humans as effectively disposable dolls that he can gleefully experiment on. The more casualties, the better, especially if he gets to break your spirit first and watch you suffer.
Even more twisted is when he combines two transfigured humans together for soul multiplicity, essentially a giant torrent of body horror flesh that he repels at an opponent. Ugh.
Mahito is unbelievably creative with his application of idol transfiguration, and despite being a newborn curse, consistently keeps experienced sorcerers on the back foot.
It helps that he's a quick study who's picked up a number of different curse techniques, like the Black Flash.
By applying cursed energy within 1 microsecond of an impact with an enemy, space itself will distort
I ain't
exponentially.
gonna lie, that's cheating, bro. He got everything, and then imagine he just black flash you just because he know that he can.
Amplifying its force by a factor of 2.5.
Not only does this hurt like a mother, it restores your curse technique and gets you fully in the zone.
And would require reflexes moving nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound. It's no surprise then that Mahito also unlocked the pinnacle of sorcerer techniques, the domain expansion.
Oh shit! More hands! A domain is like a barrier of cursed energy, but if you're caught inside,
Black Flash
Mahito
stuff.
can use idol transfiguration instantly without even needing to touch you.
It's called the self-embodiment of perfection, the ultimate expression of Mahito's absolute control over his victim's body and soul. The only time it ever failed was against the student sorcerer and Mahito's archenemy, Yuji Itadori.
Because not only was Yuji a barf-inducing goody little two-shoes who believed in the inalienable rights of all living things, blah, 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 he also had a curse inside of him,
The king of curses, Sukuna.
which meant Mahito's ability affected both souls in Yuji's body. Sukuna didn't like that. No surprise, and kicked Mahito's ass, forcing Patchface to fight with a handicap whenever facing his pink-haired
Sukuna the
menace.
goat.
Yuji's belief in the value of human life flew directly in the face of the world that Mahito knew to be cruel and meaningless. So he made it his mission to crush Yuji's spirit before killing him, murdering his friends, defiling their corpses, and brutally battering him before going in for the kill.
And he's got the strength to do it. Mahito's one of the most powerful curses in the world, and his growth is exponential.
Fellow disaster curse Jogo was able to summon a massive meteor capable of reducing the city of Shibuya to ash.
That'd take an energy of over 800 kilotons of TNT.
And Mahito can take as good as he can give, especially when, in the throes of struggle against Yuji, he evolved, unlocking a vastly more powerful form, the instant body of distorted killing.
Complete with armored exoskeleton and arm blades.
Ridiculous.
This was a taste of the almighty curse Mahito was growing into. A true blight on all mankind.
It wouldn't last. In a bitter battle of resolve, Yuji won out. In a dog-eat-dog world, there was now a bigger wolf.
So he tucked tail and ran away like a bitch. And what do you know? Life suddenly became a whole lot more meaningful the second it looked like it was about to end.
All that gleeful nihilism, just a bitter hypocrisy in the end.
For him, maybe, but Mahito found a convert in his archenemy. After a battle that wiped out thousands of innocent people, Yuji's youthful spirit was gone. The only thing left that mattered was exorcising this curse.
In a way, that was Mahito's final victory, the destruction of another human being's soul. He may not have been around to see it, but the curse Mahito inflicted on the world would bring it to its knees.
Man.
Hey, do you see that join button? Yeah, that one. That's your ticket to being a death.
Oh, it's time.
All right, game time.
Battle.
This is my favorite part, bruh. The beginning is just observation. Now we put it into practice. Oh my God. All right, let's see. Cozy free who? Shigaraki, obviously.
I'd heard of a powerful villain stalking these parts. My organization is going to tear this putrid world down around us. We could use a freak of your talents.
Little old me. Do I want to be king of the social rejects?
Wow.
How about I bring them your head instead?
They would actually be friends.
Let's call this your audition. Sickum.
That makes sense. Nomu. I ain't gonna lie, he's struggling versus Nomu low key. Are they human? Oh, I guess they kinda are. That's hard. Animation is ridiculous. Hold on, I gotta lock in.
Did you actually just see that?
It's gonna be hard to kill him.
God, how lame!
But he can definitely. Ooh, what the? Ooh, good kick. I ain't gonna lie, this fight crazy. Don't tell me Shigaraki getting flustered. That don't do it?
Over. Did I get the part?
He went into the train. Yo. Black Flash. Ooh. That hurt. Oh yeah. We're entering the final arc. Here we go. Oh my God, he doing that boy dirt. That decay wasn't enough? Jesus Christ, another Black Flash. Oh.
That all you got? Domain expansion.
Fuck. See, and this is what I was scared of. I don't think the domain is gone.
I can read your soul. You're just a scared little boy whose daddy was mean and wants to make it everyone else's problem.
No way the domain expansion is what does it, bro. Oh, he broke domain expansion. It's over.
I felt your soul too.
I
Hate humanity because you were born that way. Totally random.
Oh yeah! No run, no shit, like, no run, no shit, like.
You grow up.
GG, I knew it. Yeah, it makes sense. The only question for me and the only place of doubt was the domain expansion. That's the only thing. But I forgot that he had something in his soul. GG.
What did I say?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm like 5 for 5 on Death Battle.
Like a bitch.
With their complex power sets, this match was a puzzle to figure out, which is why we're breaking it down to 3 categories: physical stats, survivability, and their powers.
But first, let's address one thing. Could Shigaraki even see Mahito? He's an invisible curse after all.
Cursed energy and quirks are notably different, and Shigaraki wouldn't be able to see curses normally. However, even regular humans can spontaneously develop the ability to see curses in life and death scenarios. And with the Search quirk, Shigaraki would have had no problem tracking it.
So seeing Mahito wouldn't have been an issue. With that out of the way, we can jump into their stats.
This was no contest. Despite the disaster curses being able to destroy entire cities with their cursed energy, Shigaraki's scaling to Deku and Bakugo meant he was calculably millions of times stronger.
He was faster too, considering he could react to light beams, while Mahito's Black Flash capped out at nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound.
I see.
Nothing to scoff at, but Shiggy was thousands of times faster. Shigaraki takes stats.
But survivability was a little trickier to figure out.
Yep, in terms of raw durability, Shigaraki was a lot tougher, and his ability to generate new flesh meant that he could heal any wounds he might receive super easy.
However, Mahito is a curse and is immune to the kind of overwhelming physical damage Shigaraki could dish out. Not only that, Mahito's regenerative ability via idle transfiguration meant that he'd come back from anything short of spiritual damage.
Considering Mahito's unique curse body, he should actually get the edge in survivability.
Which presents a crucial question. Could Shigaraki even kill a curse like Mahito
Right.
in the first place?
That's what I'm
Or would
wondering.
Mahito's unkillability give him the time he needed to eventually put Shiggy down with idle transfiguration?
It all comes down to their powers.
Shigaraki had a lot more variety with all of the crazy quirks All For One had collected over all the years, but none that we know of could properly kill a curse. That didn't mean idle transfiguration was a surefire bet either, though.
Of all things, Shigaraki's vestiges served as a spiritual shield from the effects of idle transfiguration. The fact that Mahito could not avoid targeting Sukuna while attacking Yuji meant that he couldn't target specific souls inside a person.
And Shiggy has hundreds of soul-like entities inside of him. Sure, each one down means he loses a quirk, but that's more than enough time to land a single hit with Decay, especially considering how much faster Shiggy is.
And Mahito has no way to defend against Shigaraki's primary quirk. Decay has affected spiritual beings in the past. Again, vestiges. In fact, he was able to damage Deku's vestige and have that damage transferred to the Deku in the real world.
Mahito may be made of spirit energy, but he still has a physical form. In fact, sorcerers that couldn't naturally target the soul were able to fight him on even footing. No reason to think Shiggy wouldn't decay him like
I'm genuinely just fascinated. That's why I'm not really talking too much this video. Like, this is crazy.
everyone else.
Giving Shigaraki the third and final edge. It was a unique duel to the death, but Shigaraki's overwhelming might, unstoppable powers, and deadly decay spelled the end for the disaster curse.
Nothing else to say. You really gotta hand it to Shigaraki.
The winner is Tomura Shigaraki.
Next time on
What's
Death
next?
Battle.
Doom?
Subscribe and join as a
Bro, why are we doing that? That's not even a real fight. What? They need to stop, bro. That's bad. That's probably the worst one they've done. Bro, Doom is finna wipe the floor with it. Like bro, he's finna. Bro, that's not a fight, bro. You should have put Doom against like Goku or something. Even then, it's still comp. Well, nah, Goku probably whoop him, but like, bro, Doom is like that. Doom is like that. That is, he's slaughtering him, bro. He's sunning him, bro. That's Bronny and LeBron, yo. Don't. It's a bad matchup, but that's a good video, bro. I'm not really too surprised, and I wasn't too amped, just because I kind of already knew what the ending was going to be, and I'm also a little sick too. But yeah, thank y'all for watching over on the channel, bro. Make sure you come on to the streams and let me know what else I should react to.